You ever struck gold? Or oil? I personally haven't. But I suspect it's not hard to imagine the feeling. The arc of realization and emotion that comes with it. After who knows how much hard work, sweat, blood, and tears, something new catches your attention. Something that finally turns out to be the thing you sought. It's what almost everyone wants and needs. It's something hard to find and bring back. And if you manage it, it'll make you rich and set for life beyond your wildest expectations. What's harder to imagine is all the kinds of trouble that come with it and thereafter. And that's precisely what I want to talk about here. Because even in the crimson skies, the foibles and follies of oil are still in full effect. And the independent nation-state of Texas is the prime example to witness and learn from. In the broken United States of America, Texas was one of the first states to secede, and to uphold their status, power, and prosperity, they took to their true-to-life expanding oil industry, their historical oil boom, and placed themselves as a major supplier of valuable mineral wealth in North America. In keeping with the new nation-states investing heavily in aircraft and airships, Texas also took advantage of their concurrently vast deposits of helium gas to market for airships that want to avoid using hydrogen and becoming as flammable as gasoline-soaked tissue. Notwithstanding how hydrogen and gasoline are not the same way flammable, in universe, if anyone has the money and depends on airships traveling safely, then Texas petrochemical companies can sell helium for top dollar. However, this is also a region where the law and order of the United States no longer applies. So with the new nation-states showing plenty of hostility towards each other, more than a few might decide if they can get the helium at a lesser price, say a 5-finger discount, then they may very well try. Hence comes the cost to holding an effective monopoly on a valuable resource that's abundant in your domain. It has to be defended from takers on all sides. Competitors can't be allowed. They might be better at extracting the wealth than you, or they might buy it off with a one-time purchase for a lifetime bonanza. Thieves are also especially a problem because if they can get away with it, they can sell to customers on a black market that demands a lower price than the monopoly. So, what has to be done to protect this wealth? Law and order, bought and paid for, and a lot of it too. The lucrative oil or helium industry thus needs lots of friends, or at least leverage, in the halls of power, and where the law isn't compliant, or the lawmakers a little too principled, a bribe, or several, is in order. This is what's called an oligarchy, where government is influenced or controlled according to the benefits of the largest moneyed interests. The oil industry, like in real life, and Texas supplied helium in the crimson skies. When the oil-based oligarchy gets enough power in government, that can be called a petrostate, which affects society and operates the economy solely to the benefit of petrochemical extraction and sale. Thus, Crimson Skies, Texas can be considered analogous to a real-life petrostate, not just in oil but in helium, and the lucrative demand from everyone around it, but also in the need to protect it, using government to ward off competitors, and the state militia, the Texas Air Rangers, to drive away thieves and rival nation-states' militaries. And that's not all. The subject of the story, one helium mine, is fortified with enough military hardware and soldiers to rival the French Maginot Line, none of which is cheap, such as how lucrative a target it is for rival powers and unscrupulous pirates. This is the setup for the story of the Helium War to follow, and its deuteragonists, the hero Houston Travis and the villainous Marshal Bill Redmond. Though they're obviously hero and villain, only the Marshal would become a famous and infamous air pirate, and it is he that drives this story. It starts like any day defending the Republic of Texas. Marshal Redmond leads a squadron to stand ready and defend against pirates, and Travis is one of the fighter pilots that put themselves to the hazard. Notwithstanding a rather ruinous impromptu air race that wrecks 2 aircraft and nearly kills Travis, somehow nothing is amiss in the conduct of the Texas Air Ranger Marshal, who musters the squadron to take defense of a helium mine. That's when the treachery starts, and it's at least 3 layers of double-crossing before the entirety of Redmond's plan is revealed to us readers. First, he receives a visiting dignitary from no less than Nazi Germany, Ernst Udet of the German Luftwaffe, for a deal. For a hefty sum, Redmond will destroy the Texas helium mine so that Germany can profit off a Polish helium mine when the supply in North America tanks. But Redmond can't just bomb the facility. He doesn't have the firepower or any way to cover himself for such an attack. So Redmond gets help. The Marshal recruits 1 band of pirates to attack the helium mine and drain its defenses of ordnance and ammunition, while the Marshal's squadron puts on a brave defense of the same. Presumably he downplays the strength of the fortifications to the pirate and promises a share of the spoils, but he'll never make good on that promise. Naturally, he doesn't stop at just 1 band of low-life pirates. Marshal Redmond recruits a second group, more powerful than the first, presumably with the same promise of riches from control of the helium mine. It also helps that Xenon's pirate band has an airship, and Redmond earns the affection of pirate leader Xenon herself. After the first group of pirates blunts and bloodies themselves on the mine defenses, Xenon's group will swoop in and kill off any stragglers, leaving her squadron and Redmond's surviving and personally loyal pilots to make like pirates and seize the mine. Redmond portrays this deal as taking over a mine and holding it against all comers, so that they can force the sale of helium on their own piratical terms. But Redmond has no intention of holding the mine against all comers. For one thing, even with his loyal squadmates and Xenon's squadron and combat zeppelin, he can't. It would be the whole of Texas that would go gunning for him as a traitor to the Republic, and that's not what he's about. When he gets the chance to escape, Redmond will destroy the mine, denying it to everyone, and starting his new life as a genuine, low-down, no-good, rapacious air pirate. It would have been a perfect plan, a plan fit for his brilliant, scheming, conniving Texan intellect. Except for a couple of things. Redmond never counted on the dogged pursuit from Houston Travis and the invasion of an army and air force from a Utah enclave. After all, it's not only pirates that would stand to gain by holding control over a lucrative helium mine. It would be a boon to geopolitical power for any nation-state. Just as Redmond is managing his made-to-order pirate threat, the armed forces of a Mormon enclave make their bid to break the fortifications and go for the gold, or helium rather. It takes a lot of risky flying and ammunition for Redmond to succeed in doing his actual job, in defending the mine from Texas's rivals. It's a long slog of air combat before Redmond can get back to betraying the first pirate gang, taking down his treacherous wingmate, and calling in Xenon's reinforcements to finally take over the mine. All the while, Houston Travis, who Redmond left for dead, takes the long way around to get back to thwarting Redmond's plans, surviving a running battle with a Utah squadron, Mexican bandits, and accepting the help of a beautiful savior all the while. By the time Travis makes his triumphant return, taunting Redmond to fight one-on-one, the pirate takeover of the mine is effectively complete. Despite Redmond's promise of effectively ruling the mine as an enterprise independent of Texas, Xenon makes like a pirate and proceeds to haul as much helium as she can so she can vacate the premises. Not only is this another indication that there's no honor among thieves, Redmond doesn't take it personally, because keeping the mine was not his goal either. Destroying it is, as revealed by story's end. And before the heroes come back for the final battle, Redmond makes his move to sabotage the mine, and officially founds his pirate gang out of his loyal surviving wingmates. Only the alliance between Travis, the Utah Air Squadrons, and a group of Texas Air Rangers summoned by Travis's partner is able to take down Xenon's pirates and secure the helium mines, discovering and disarming Redmond's bombs in the process. The story ends with the helium mine resecured by both Texan Air Rangers and Utah pilots, and an ostensible profit and protection sharing agreement is in the works to help Texas avoid the loss of its helium mine in the future. The likelihood of this sharing agreement standing is a discussion for later, because for now, I want to examine the mindset of one Texas Air Marshal turned pirate, Bill Redmond. Throughout the story, we get to see into Redmond's mindset, and what I see is a deep, dark mirror of the in-universe Texan mindset. If you read the resource books The Airman's Gazette and Pride of the Republic, you'll get a narrative of Texas nationhood sold to the reader after its secession from the United States. And it's not just an embellishment of the history of Texas being an independent republic prior to joining the United States, never mind how they did benefit from joining the Union, but also a mantra on which Texas can stand as part of the disunited states. I think I can sum it up thusly. No one messes with Texas. Nobody beats Texas. It's the kind of sophistry that I would say doth protest too much, covering up weakness, anxieties, and limitations with prideful boasting, machismo, even chauvinism. We Texans don't need anybody. Bill Redmond seems written to be a uniquely distilled product of this environment. Written in story, he's the son of a Texas judge who presides over a court of law. In this environment, it's not hard to imagine his judge father was something akin to a hanging judge that would dole out punishment in excess of what fits any crime, without any consideration for circumstance or context that should inform the sentencing. It's a position of power that serves only the power. The who, the why, and what for don't matter. With this environment and that kind of role model, it should be no surprise that Redmond would decide the way to get ahead is to subvert law and order and take what you want, and call it strength. Being violent and bloodthirsty to that end is no object. As written, with Bill Redmond having an extensive and impressive combat record, and being given command of a squadron, it's not hard to find evidence that enforces his worldview. Take what you can, kill whoever troubles you. The worldview of a rapacious pirate. The hitch is that this is also the logical conclusion of the Texan worldview. If a Texan can take something, they should take it. If anyone objects, overpower them, because no one messes with Texas. In this way, the murderous Marshal Bill Redmond is the quintessential product of the Texan National Project, and it's no stretch to imagine that he won't be the only one. The story of the Helium War ends with an ostensible note of hopefulness, when protection of the helium mine is due to be overseen by an international board of directors. It's supposed to ensure that, by protecting the mine and abstaining from hostility with Texas, those that abide the treaty will get their valuable helium at the same base domestic price instead of the higher export price. But the problem I foresee in this arrangement is that, logical, rational, and fair as it may be to all adherents, to Texans, the problem is that they're not Texans. On top of the fact that very many Texans died to protect the resource, and by extension the wealth and prestige of Texas, I fully expect that agitators, and not a few aspiring politicians, may decide Texan-sourced helium should be held solely by Texans, real Texans, not traitors to the Republic, that would give away our precious helium to foreigners. Whatever the method, Given the written Texan worldview, the benefits of internationally upheld security and profitability would be lost if the Texan public were mobilized to destroy such a treaty, leaving Texas right where it started, which is to say, utterly dependent on its oligarchs to safeguard nationally vital resources and expend Texan lives to fight off genuine threats, and do it alone, which would be a pure waste of life, just like what was suffered with Redmond's scheme. But that's the cost invariably incurred by a chauvinist worldview.